Hello team, how's it going? Welcome to a new video and welcome to a new series, Norway at War, episode 1 of 6, Mission Afghanistan. Looking forward to this. As always, go and check out the original video in the description. It's quite an old one, obviously the Afghanistan war. Only recently pulled out a few years ago, but was going on for some time, 20 years. So this was filmed around 12 years ago. So go and give them a like, share and a follow. And hopefully you enjoy my review and my commentary to this. And if you could like, share and subscribe to Combat Ready HQ, I would hugely appreciate it. And go and check out some of our merch, some of our coffee. I've gone for an op decaf today, a little bit less caffeine. And you can go and check them out at www.combatreadyhq.co.uk. And you can check out some of the best supplements on the market, combat fuel. So as always, please comment below with what your thoughts are and what you want to see next. But let's get into it.
Folkens, vær så snill å ta plass. Mitt navn er Rune Solberg. Vi skal gå innom scenariet. Vi vil aldri kunne klare å overlate ansvaret til afghanerne selv hvis den norske PRT-en skal bruke ressurser og tida si på å jage etter Taliban. Det er viktig å huske på da, at å slå Taliban, det er ikke det vi primært skal gjøre i Afghanistan, bare så det er helt klart. PRT-en sitt viktigste oppdrag, slik jeg tolker oppdraget mitt, er at vi skal bruke mesteparten av vår energi på å få de afghanske sikkerhetsstyrkene til å klare seg på egen hånd. Og det må skje så fort som mulig. Ok.
And that was the mission of going into Afghanistan. The Taliban have never been defeated. The Russians have tried, the British have tried once again before. You know, they've been in constant battle, the Afghanis, for hundreds of years. And the Taliban have never been defeated. The whole point was to build up a security force to sustain themselves. Obviously, we go in, we try and sort of win the fight, push them back as best as possible so then we can build resources and then build up their own security forces, which actually seemed harder than what we actually would fought, because depending on which security forces you were training would depend on how involved they wanted to be, their discipline, their professionalism. ANA, Afghan National Police, the local police, bit iffy, happily doing drugs. Afghan National Army were a lot more sort of involved and willing to sort of listen and be disciplined, listen to the training and actually want to push them back. As I found the police were more sort of involved in corruption, but then not to say the Afghan National Army wasn't either, but that was our whole goal and it didn't happen. Biden decided to pull out last minute and it all went tits up, but the whole goal was to build up a security force so they're sustainable themselves, build up the resources. We want them to be sustainable, not just defeat the Taliban and leave them as they are, because then they'll just go back to how they are. We wanted a country that was protected and sustained by themselves, so we didn't have to continue it.
Det er litt sånn guttedrøm, at man synes det er spennende. Adrenalin og spenning er jo selvfølgelig en del av hele opplevelsen. Men det er også litt sånn patriotisk sak også, at man har lyst til å gjøre noe for landet. Det er jo rett og slett helt bomba her nå, men nå får vi bare få det unna. Så det ser greit ut her før jeg reiser.
That is what you call a mess, isn't it?
Nå er det greit her nå. Gulvet er ryddig. Det er godt nok.
Interesting to see what their rooms look like, their accommodation.
Jeg jo da 34, ikke 24. Jeg har jo familie, jeg har 3 barn. Ja, det på en måte litt idiotisk og egoistisk om jeg gjør det, men jeg har bestemt meg. Jeg drar jo. Og det vet jeg, det ikke noe de kan bestemme.
They're both very right there, and this is the problem I feel like some countries are lacking, especially the UK, with the way the government have acted. There's no patriotism anymore. I wanted to go, I wanted to serve in Afghanistan, and I did for my country. I wanted to join the army for my family, friends, and for my country. We don't really get or see that anymore. And it is, I went, I was single, young, no kids, nothing. Other guys went, families, married, they were going for 6 to 7 months with 2 weeks off in between, that was it. And you're leaving your kids, one, to chase your dreams and that adrenaline rush and that excitement, but to also protect your country. So in a way it is very selfish, but also it's in a way where you feel like you are protecting them as well.
Nå skal vi ut og ha siste skarpskytingen før vi deployerer ned til Afghanistan.
Helvete.
TV? En good, eller?
Ja, en good nå.
Du, innskyting, 3 skudd,
Ja.
ei pipe.
Mottatt. Man har jo frykt for å kunne komme, altså at man kunne komme til å skade noen som sivil, sånn at nok så påpasselig som kan være.
Han går ikke lenger.
Så har du da det som oppgaven, og det jo da å ta ut den som forsøker å ta ut deg. Jeg vet jo ikke hvordan vi kommer til å reagere enda, for det har vi ikke prøvd.
Klar!
Jeg tror nok det vil gå greit, hvis jeg kan bruke det ordet.
Skudd kommer!
Norske soldater angrepet i Afghanistan, en livstruende skadd.
Det tar ikke fokuset, men hver gang det har skjedd nå, i perioden vi har trent for oppdraget, så blir det jo hakket mer alvorlig. Det blir det jo. Ok.
Very, very true. So obviously guys can't just be out there constantly, so there's units on rotation. So these are the next guys going in on rotation. There's a Norwegian unit out there currently on their rotation, and what used to happen is you would obviously be on rotation, doing your 6 months PDT, pre-deployment training, getting ready to deploy. And while you're there, you'd be hearing of, you know, for us, British casualties, British fatalities, you know, they're coming back in their coffins. And it just, made it more real as of the dangers of what was going to happen. Because it's exciting. Especially when I joined, people joined because Afghan and Iraq, it was as high. That's what you wanted to do, shoot stuff, blow stuff up. You wanted to go on ops, you wanted to go on tour, you wanted to get away. And you know, you got to be careful what you wish for, but the longer PDT went on and the more sort of fatalities that happened, it did make it more real. But it also, and it did obviously sort of worry you in a way, it's like, oh my God, look what's happening out there. But it made you want to get out there even more. It's a very, very weird feeling that only if you've served that you would feel.
Det trenger ikke gå bra. Men sannsynligvis gjør det, statistisk sett. Nå skal jeg ta fallende bilde av meg da, foran et flagg.
Det bildet bruker vi her hjemme for å, hvis det skulle skje noe gærent med deg, så har vi et flott bilde med en god bakgrunn som vi kan gi til media, sånn at du slipper å få et eller annet russebilde eller barnebilde fra mor.
Litt vent mot høyre. Sånn, og litt grann fram. Du vil ikke smile?
Nei, jeg skal ikke ut og smile på det.
Ser det greit ut?
Ja, det ser bra ut.
Flott, takk.
Ja.
And you have to go through this process of getting ready for going Afghan, but also just in case the worst happened. They make sure your will's up to date. They make sure your contact details are up to date. You know, lads were boxing up their rooms. So you went on Afghan and all your room had to be boxed up, because if the worst happened, they could come back and someone didn't have to box your room up for you and have to go through that pain of boxing up your room. So your room was already boxed. Sometimes they didn't always do that, but they did. But yeah, making sure Will was up to date, taking pictures of you just in case that did happen, you know, making sure everything was in place. Like, they're right, if the worst happens, have you got everything in place? Is everything in order at home? And you've got to go through that because you're going into such a dangerous situation.
Takk.
Nå det like før. På en måte så gleder jeg meg fryktelig, for jeg ser at dette her virkelig en oppgave som viktig. Samtidig så det også en utfordring, fordi at jeg har en familie hjemme her i Norge som jeg kommer til å savne mye i de 6 månedene jeg borte, og som jeg vet kommer til å savne meg. Jeg vil finne noen bilder da, som jeg skal sette inn her. Nå driver jeg og setter sammen en orientering som jeg skal holde under familiedagen vår i dag. Vi har invitert de nærmeste pårørende.
Men dette en forholdsvis åpen bil da?
Ja, som sagt så bruker vi ikke den her så mye. Trusselen såpass høy at vi kjører heller på Anstra. I stedet for å... Det den mest komfortable bilen vi har, men det ikke den tryggeste, for å si det sånn. Så vi bruker heller de vekkom til det. Det klart de bekymrer seg, de også, som alle andre foreldre. Men jeg opplever en god støtte hjemmefra for den jobben jeg gjør her. Det klart du risikerer å miste livet. Du risikerer å skade deg alvorlig. Jeg tror i den jobben her så kan man ikke ha det som en sånn daglig mørk sky hengende over seg. Da tror jeg ikke du hadde kunnet gjøre jobben.
Ja, vi skal gå bak der, kom hit. Ja, du ser jo ned.
Nei, jeg frykter ikke døden så mye. Ja, det jeg frykter jo at det blir alvorlig skadet. At det blir lemlest da, på en eller annen måte.
Her skal pappa stå og jobbe, vet du, når vi borte.
De jo på en måte maktesløse i forhold til hva som skjer. Sånn at det nok mye verre for de enn for meg.
Skal du til meg, mamma? Ja, takk.
Her til 5. Tann! Hold! Giv! Hold! Post dere! Hvil! Hvil!
It is my honor to be with all of you today and to say thank you for the outstanding service and contribution of you, of Colonel Knut Fredheim and his men and women, and of our joint effort to provide security to northern Afghanistan. Colonel Rune Sölberg, I'm absolutely sure that you have been well prepared for this challenging task. I think you will perform outstandingly because the Norwegian soldiers and their partners in the PRT have the reputation to be courageous and daring.
Attention! Colonel Knut, bring the flag.
I relieve you from the command of PRT 14. Colonel Selberg, take the flag. Rune, I charge you with the command of PRT 15. All the best for you. PRT Maimana, at ease!
To my fellow soldiers in PRT 15, we have an important but very demanding mission ahead of us. I wish that we will be successful in every task we are undertaking, and that I can bring every one of you safely back to your home countries at the end of our mission. Thank you.
And this is how it happens. It's not just a walk in, get off the plane, get your rooms, get your kit, and then deploy out to any sort of checkpoints for where you go in. You know, they have these parades, they have these handovers and takeovers. Okay, it's a big thing that you're doing. You're entering battle. You have willingly signed up to go and enter battle. Okay, so they sort of maintain these traditions, you know, boost morale, and give you a good brief and do a proper handover takeover, because they've just risked their life. It's not just to shake your hand, get out. It's a big parade, handover, and then the next lot sort of take over. You know, I think it's a good way of doing it instead of just coming in and then just dispersing out. You know, it really makes you feel a part of something bigger.
Takk for det. Er du klar? Jeg klar.
Jeg nevnte tidligere det her med den økende IED-trusselen som vi har sett, og som sannsynligvis du vil måtte håndtere i flere tilfeller enn det vi har gjort. En befolket veistrekning som plutselig helt tom, for eksempel et veldig dårlig tegn. Vi jo vant til at når man lager dreneringsgrøfter hjemme i Norge, så lager man dem jo sånn at de på en måte under veinivået. Mens situasjonen på den veien som vi akkurat snakket om nå, da, så har de på en måte lagt kulverten oppå veien. Og så det liksom laget nærmest med sånn god gammeldags fartsdump som vi kjenner hjem, sånn at når du liksom på toppen her med kjøretøyene dine, så må du nesten være nede i null i hastighet. Og hvis du da har plassert en detonasjon inni her da, så ja, det fryktelig mange av disse her.
Det vi har sett på sikkerhetssiden at det har vært en forverring i sikkerhetssituasjonen. Blant annet så ser vi at det legges ut mange veibomber i IED-er.
And the other issue you had with IEDs is they were just getting more and more advanced. They was getting less and less metal in them, so they were harder to detect. They were getting better at hiding them and covering up, so there was less ground sign. It was a really high threat and really, really tricky to tackle.
Akkurat nå så vi i en periode der kornåkrene klare for innhøsting, og jeg vet, drar vi ut i enkelte områder nå, så blir det også ildstrid med Taliban, og resultatet at mange av disse kornåkrene vil brenne ned. Ergo så har jeg valgt å holde talskuniten i leir.
Leiren. Den for så vidt litt mindre enn jeg har sett for meg. Jeg har sett for meg at den var litt større. Det vaktposter, men de kanskje ikke så synlige som det jeg har sett for meg. Jeg tror det var litt mer aggressivt vakthold. What the fuck?
Who the hell designed that?
Her skal jeg stå i 3 måneder. Blir brune i ansiktet.
Good tan.
Det veldig deilig å være på jobb igjen.
Det noen som ikke fra infanteritroppen her nå?
Det min tredje tur til Afghanistan
A trip in 4 years.
4 år. Det jo jobben da, som det å være her nede for meg. Ikke være i Norge og trene i tjukklingen. Det også selvfølgelig altså samholdet med gutta, det ganske unikt.
Jeg liker de glassene dine.
Ja, fucka nå, eller?
Nei, jeg liker de glinser.
Skytterne klare, 4 skudd i eget tempo.
Making sure everything's zero, accurate, keep on top of your training. Don't just sit around waiting to go out on patrol or get deployed. That was a big thing out there. Op bronze, get your tan on. I remember that.
Nå skal vi ut og titte på markedet, som ligger utenfor muren, men innenfor ytterste gjerdet. Da må vi ha vest og våpen på oss.
They were very typical. You would have shops like that in camp. I was in Camp Bastion first before I got deployed out. Camp Bastion was a lot bigger, a lot more advanced, had a lot more shops. But yeah, you'd be able to go to a shop. You'd be able to get like Afghanistan patches. I had one on my kit, cold drinks, t-shirts, flags, etc. Yeah, that was pretty much popular in pretty much most camps of a decent size. Camp Bastion had all sorts. Subway, you could get pizza. It was ridiculous. It was like sort of being back home.
Lagde t-skjorte med...
That's cool, like that.
Med merkingen vår på. Også Punisher.
I like that.
Taliban Hillfighter.
Tommy Hilfiger Taliban.
Sånn stort gulvteppe til stua. Sånn firkantet, sånn som du ikke får kjøpt på IKEA. Like this? Yes. Okay, I'll find out what size are.
Yes, okay.
This is my Norwegian book. You know, in my part times, I'm watching this and I'm reading.
Okay.
Everyone else.
Oldest 8. 130. It's like from 110 to 130.
This is the good size to have.
Yeah, I'll look at that later.
Okay.
They just for first time look here.
For you, friend.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Kjøpet ble da tigeren fra Ole Brumm. You sent my dad to Afghanistan, you bastards. Han sender hjemme posten til barna. Tenk på de her også her nede.
Some decent patches there. Taliban Hillfire.
Fy faen, jeg svett. Da rant det ifra nakken og den rumpesprekken. På under et sekund.
Jeg er jo et miljø som er ganske, ja, kall det hardbarka da. Og så er jeg jo kristen, og jeg har jo et kristent miljø, jeg går i menighet hjemme, som ikke har helt de samme kvalitetene som fremelskes her.
Punisher, like that.
2,2 kilo cirka. Den brukes mot personell på topper. Så den her er fin. Skal ha med i hvert fall 12 da.
Dette er min teg. Farad provins og Gårdmark. Det vil si at Rune Solberg er Battlespace Owner i Regional Command North. Sikkerheten i dette området her har ikke vært ivaretatt av afghanske myndigheter frem til nå. Hvis vi forlater Russian Hill, slik at det ikke er igjen militære enheter der oppe, så må vi starte et klareringsoperasjon for å være sikker på at det ikke er lagt ut IED-er eller veibommer der oppe. Vi skal holde Russian Hill.
Ok, da står vi foran vårt første samlet oppdrag. I vårt eget område, målområde, Russian Hill, vær fokusert og orientert på oppdraget. Ok, da sitter vi opp.
Kjedelig å være i campen, så det er greit å komme seg ut.
Klart vi bidrar til et bedre Afghanistan. For jeg tror vi er i ferd med å identifisere kjernen i problemet. Det er afghanerne selv som skal settes til å skape denne utviklingen. Det er liksom ikke bare å tenke på å gjennomføre militære operasjoner. Hadde det vært det, så hadde det vært relativt enkelt å være her.
Yeah. Brilliant start to the episode. I love the way how they've opened it, being back in Norway, going through a bit of PDT and then deploying out to Afghanistan. Sort of shows the build up, and it really shows the personal side of it. Getting yourself ready just in case there's a fatality, taking pictures, sorting out wheels, doing a family's day is very common. You know, coming around to show your families what kit and equipment you're going to be using to defend yourself. And it's in a sense where your families are sort of excited, but they're also like, okay, yeah, my son, my daughter's going to war, and they're going to have to use this to defend themselves. Is this kit equipment going to protect them well enough? Having to say goodbye if you've got kids, or a wife, or a husband. Like, it's a really tough feeling having to do it outside, but then you really want to go, and then you get out there and you've got the excitement. And you just want to get out on that first op, and you can see they were all keen to get out there on that op, and that's really what the feeling is like. So really, really good episode so far. Looking forward to the next one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.